I finally got my hands on this new Natasha Denona Hy-per Natural face palette. This retails for $62 and it comes with 5 eyeshadows, 2 cheek products, and 3 different colors of contour. These technically you are not supposed to use on your eyes, but Natasha does and I did, and I think that they work just fine that way. This is expensive, so I really wanted to give this a really good try. So I did. I have been wearing this for 2 days straight. It's been sort of a roller coaster. I have a whole lot of thoughts about this. This is definitely not for everybody, but I will show you me putting it on and give you my wear test results and just let you know what I thought. And then maybe we can figure out who this is for. I order stuff off of Natasha Denona's site regularly, so I actually got in a few days early. If you sign up with her, you can. You accrue points, and so I actually got this for $37. That's why I wanted to order it through the website, because it was a better deal for me. Some other creators are offering 10 to 15% off, I believe. So if you look around at other like bigger creators than me, they have discounts that you can use if you want to order from the website. Otherwise, you can get this at Sephora. This is another one of those expensive palettes, so let's go ahead and get into the swatches, and then we will start putting this on, and I will give you my full roller coaster of thoughts about this particular palette. Let's get into it. This came in absolutely beautiful packaging as per usual. It has a nice big mirror and everything came in beautiful condition. We are going to start with the face products first. So let's do these blushes. I found that I really, for the swatches, needed to do more than one swatch, usually about 3 to get the color that I wanted. I actually don't mind that because I don't want face products to be so powdery or so pigmented that I'm afraid to use them. I did find that the contour products, the first 2 pretty warm, and that last one was not as warm, but it's kind of a pale yellow, so I don't know if that works for me so much. Let's get into these really smooth cream eyeshadows though. Whoa, I love this color, this watery white. It goes over everything. I'm going to use it all the time. This is a beautiful smooth brown, and this is sort of a peachy pink. It is very smooth. It's not a color that I'm personally going to want to use, but it does go with the blushes. And then this gray is also very, very pretty. It reads as a bit of a warmer gray, which, you know, makes it a lot more wearable for most people. Okay, so we're going to get into how I put this on the first day. Oh my gosh, I love digging into a new palette. So let's start with the cheeks and the blush. That is real warm, and the contour I'm probably going to ignore. So let's start with the lightest blush, even though it is pretty warm. I'm hoping that like very lightly used, this will actually work on my skin tone. Yeah, I mean, I'm going super light because obviously I am super light, and yeah, it's definitely warm, but I think if I use a really light hand with this, it is definitely wearable, and that's actually really pretty. I'm gonna add some of the darker to see if I can handle it. Ooh, yeah, no. It's really pigmented. This is gonna be great for darker skin tones. On me, I am like furiously trying to get it sort of thinned out so that, you know, it's going to be more wearable for me. And I actually did manage to do this. I will say later in the day, I realized that it was really, really bright on me. And I think I'm just going to avoid that color from now on. Okay, so I'm going to go back on this side. We're just going to do the light one and sort of compare. That's actually really pretty. I think that looks really nice. So I do think that this works for kind of all skin tones. Okay, so I'm really not interested in any kind of contour. I never wear contour, but we're gonna try that lightest one. I don't know, it's so light that you don't really see it on me, and I think if I were to build it up, I'm afraid it would look sallow on me because it's got a more of a yellow to olive undertone. But if you are one of those rare olive undertones, this might really work for you, and you might really, really like this. I think I'm gonna reserve this just for eyeshadow. Okay, so I have heard from other people that they had trouble with creasing, so I'm going to go ahead and use this eyeshadow that I use under all of my other eyeshadows. Okay, it gives me a nice white base. So we're going to try this watery clear shade to see if it has any white base to it, and no, not really. It's really, really pretty. It's really smooth, and it really just gives you a water finish. You could totally just wear this with a little bit of mascara for an ultra natural look. It'd be beautiful. Okay, I'm going to try today to use the contour as my crease shadow. I'm going to start with the lightest shade, and actually I think it looks really, really good. I appreciate that it is so light so that I can build it up. And then I'm going to add this next warmer color in just to see. It's a bit warm, so I went real light with it. I don't want a super warm look. And I'm going to use the darkest as sort of my outer, and it is pretty warm as well. It goes great with actually my hair, so it's not a problem, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit cooler of a look today. So far, this palette has not been giving me really good cool looks. I think you could manage, but you'd only be using a very small amount of this. So let's see, let's start using these cream shadows. I'm going to skip that pink shade, didn't like it, just not my vibe. And we're gonna go for this medium brown. It's going on really nice, really smooth. I actually really love the way this feels. It is kind of looking a little creasy right as I put it on, but the more I work it in, I think it's gonna be okay. Creasing is definitely the concern with these shadows, so we're gonna keep working with that. I love the way this feels on my finger though, and it's really comfortable to work it into my eyelid skin. Okay, so next we're gonna take that gray on a brush and see how the brush works with it. It picked up pretty well, which I actually wasn't expecting. It immediately has fallout whenever you use a brush, so that is sort of like, that's a little bit of a surprise, especially with the cream shadow. But it is a really, really light dark gray, if that makes any sense. And it really, I think what it is actually, it's more like watercolor. It's a little bit see-through. So you can just use it to darken the colors that are already there. Everything blends together pretty well, although it looks a little patchy and there's definitely a lot of fallout. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can use the darkest brown as a liner. This is something I really want it to work as, and you're going to see that this is a struggle. If you're going really light and you're not trying to darken it for like a full wing, it's fine, but there is a lot of fallout. I'm gonna use a smaller brush to see if I can intensify and darken this shadow, because it's dark in the pan, but when you actually spread it out on your eyes, it also has that sort of watercolor, not completely opaque sort of, quality to it, which makes it really hard to do a nice dark wing with. Okay, now what I'm looking at is that it seems like there is already creasing, and I'm gonna try to rub it out a little bit with this blending brush to see if I can kind of get past that. That seemed like that worked pretty well. And then we're gonna cover everything with that beautiful watery sort of white color. I think that's beautiful. I can't wait to use this shade for like a lot of different looks. It's really, really nice on the fingers. It feels super smooth. It does not feel crusty or crunchy. It doesn't have that weird cooling effect. It just smooths over like butter, and it makes everything sort of go together a little bit better. And I think it's really beautiful. I'm just adding more of that darkest one, right? I'm like adding it as the top wing. It's not dark enough to be, a full liner because it is so soft. Still, it's really pretty. And they're really pleasant to work with, both with fingers and with a brush. I did not think it was going to work with a brush, and it is a little more challenging. It doesn't just go right exactly where you want it and then set, but that also allows you to, if you make mistakes, you can move it around pretty easily. Okay, well, that's better. Sorry, some of what I'm fighting here is that I am used to having a very dark line up there, and I keep wanting to put it there. So this is a little bit of a different look for me, but I figured, you know, this is a different kind of palette, so let's try it the way it's kind of meant to be used. Okay, so I gotta say, it's really pretty. It already started creasing on me. I have hooded eyelids, I have older eyelids, I'm 48, and I have oily eyelids. So I kind of expected that that was going to happen. In fact, I would have been really shocked if it didn't because it's a cream-based shadow. You're not supposed to use it this way, but Natasha herself has tons of reels of her using this. I'm not going to use the contour on my face because I'm not a contour kind of person. I tried it a little and whatever. But she uses this as an eyeshadow and it is perfect as, you know, your crease eyeshadow. And I just kind of progressively went from lightest to darkest just to see. And it worked great that way. But yeah, I mean, we already have creasing in here. I tried smoothing it out. I tried putting the shine over it. I think that that is just going to be part and parcel when you have this kind of a formula. The way that I prepared for it is because I heard other people had this problem as well. Since I have oily eyelids, I went ahead and put down foundation. I put down concealer and I powdered it really, really well. And I put this eyeshadow as my base. I know that this, you know, has nothing to do with this, but this is what I always use. I use this under all of my eyeshadows because I have such see-through dark eyelids being as fair as I am. So I feel like I need a little extra reflection and powder and layers so that the colors that are in this are actually going to show up as true. For now, I am skipping the pink color. To me, this is a horrible peachy pink that I do not care for. So what I will probably eventually do is I'll pop this out and I'll pick another favorite color from one of her other palettes and I'll put that in there. Because what I really did want this for is a travel palette. And I think that this has good potential, but we're gonna have to test it out. I'm gonna see how this wears throughout the day, see if it like transfers and falls down, if it just sort of disappears. Sometimes cream shadows, and I have a suspicion that that might happen with this, where it just sort of like disappears on you. It is so thin and light and it spreads so well. My guess is that this is just gonna sort of wipe away, wander away, oil away, crease, and be gone in a few hours. But we'll go ahead and test it and I will let you know and I'll kind of check in and we'll see how it wears. And then I'll see if I can think of any other really interesting looks to do with this, but I gotta say with what is there, I'm feeling pretty limited. I'll try to be more creative. I'll try to see if I can think of something else to do with it that might be really pretty, but I think this for me is kind of the look that I would get out of this palette. So for as expensive it is, that's a little bit limiting. So I don't know. I may end up just keeping a few of the cream shadows and completely putting in other Natasha Denona eyeshadows that I actually really like, and that will be my travel pack. But anyway, enough talking. This is where we're starting. In some ways really pretty, in some ways I have my doubts. So I'll see you guys in the check-ins and in a little while. All right, let's go. Before we get into the wear test, I just noticed, I think I did have fallout. Weirdly, you would not think you would have fallout, but it seems like my under eyes got real dark. So I added some more of her concealer underneath here. I'm going to clean those wings up even a little bit more, and then I'm going to powder. And normally if you powder, you get this good and set and dry. This should not have a whole bunch of fallout, and it shouldn't transfer, and all the things I suspect it's totally gonna do. I would love to be wrong, but let's go ahead and set this and then we will actually start this wear test. This is a new formula for her, and you know, we'll see how it goes. I noticed Huda's also got a cream shadow, so I mean, it looks like this is a little thing that everybody's trying right now. And you know, cream shadows have their benefits, but there's a reason, I think, why they have not been the most popular kind of formula over time. They have some limitations, especially creasing, traveling, just general longevity. can be a super big issue. So a lot of times they will make them so that they actually dry down and stay that way. Those get crusty too. So it's a tough medium. So good on Natasha for giving it a try. And I'm here to see how it goes. Now, let's start the wear test. So this is immediately after I put it on. This is out in the car, obviously, and this is what it looks like in natural light. It looks a bit patchy to me here, and it does look like there's one big crease right in the middle. But from a distance, it looks fine. So far, so good. It's not like it hasn't transferred down here. I'd say it looks about the same, but I mean, we're only at an hour, so I don't know. It's pretty. It's just, I don't know how versatile it's gonna be, but it's pretty. So, okay, that's it for now. Back under my bright lights. This is still at just about an hour. Just trying to see if I can see any kind of creasing. Not really, aside from just normal creasing. Sorry, my kids have kids over, so it might be a little noisy, but I mean, I can almost see creasing, but I think that's just my eyelid, if I'm being honest. And I think it's just catching the little bit of sparkle that's there. So far, it's soft, it's very natural, it's very pretty. It's kind of boring, if I'm being honest. That's a lot of money for something that's, I could probably get this look with just about any of the things that I own. We'll see how this wears, but I am not super impressed at this point that this is a special new kind of cream shadow. Like the formula is not blowing me out of the water. It's not like amazing. It's all right. It's nice. I actually ended up getting this one for $37. Still, that's pretty expensive. I think if you're gonna use all of the face products, then that makes a little more sense, but I'm not a fan of the peach. I can use the lighter one, but I would have preferred a rose pink, something a little cooler for me. And I'm a little bummed. I was hoping that that darker eyeshadow color was going to be something that I could do as a pretty good solid cream liner. And I mean, you saw, I had trouble building it up, and I had trouble making it like really, really intense. I don't use contour, so I'm starting to wonder, why did I buy this? You know, it's fine. You know, I'm curious. I love all things makeup, and I had to give it a try, so might as well take you guys along with me. All right, we'll keep trying it, and I will give you my full honest thoughts by the end of this. Okay, this is my ready butt after about 8 hours, and I wouldn't say that it looks much different. The lights are really bright here, so it looks a little paler, but in reality, I didn't see any real creasing beyond that weird crease that I just already have. So I was actually really surprised yesterday. I was really expecting that shadow to crease, and it did not. The rest of my makeup did not hold up. This did not move. It didn't change. I had a good 7.5, 8 hours out of it without any change. I had to remove it at the end of the night with my makeup remover. It didn't wander off. It dried down, and even when I would rub it, it wasn't going anywhere. So the way that I set it did actually really help with this, because I know a lot of other people with oily lids had this move all over on them. So today I'm going to try a different look, and I am going to try a different base to see if it was, my suspicion is that it was this that managed to get it to stay, because I know other people have powdered their lids and that didn't help. So I'm going to try just like what I did yesterday, which is just a little bit of my foundation ended up there, the Natasha Denona concealer that I used. Usually I don't use this on my lids because it's more creasy. It's meant to be hydrating, but if you powder it down, it's fine. So anyway, that's what I did today. I used the Natasha Denona concealer, and then I powdered it down, and then we're just going to go directly over with this. The other thought I had is that maybe because I used one of these shadows underneath as in the crease, that may have helped set some of these more, movable ones that would sit on top of it. So I'm not going to use those today. I'm going to try just sticking to these guys, and let's see how it goes. think just for fun, we're going to go gray and pink today. I know I said I wasn't going to use this pink, but I'm going to see if mixing it with the gray tones that peach down a little bit. I'm going to start as a base. Like, I have a hard time getting away from the base of doing something like this. I actually love this shimmer shade. It does not give you a lot of color, but it's really like that water effect. It is so pretty. Sorry, my voice is very low because it's morning, it's early, and that's what my voice sounds like when I'm tired, which is like 6, 7 in the morning. I'm always tired. I am not a morning person by nature at all, but I am forced to be a morning person because the range of my kids is 21 down to 10. Yes. See, I can't even remember what my kids are. so I've for the last 20 years or so, I have always had kids up early and having to go to school. So I've got probably another 7, 8 years of this unless my last one can drive himself, which I'm really hoping. Okay, what do we want to do next? I think I'm going to go straight to the gray. Let's try it. And again, these really are kind of meant to be, you're supposed to use your fingers with them, so that's how I'm going to do them. All right, let's do that gray. See, I do love the way that these go onto your eyes. It feels really just whisper light, but you get actually quite a lot of color payoff. I'm going to take back some of what I said yesterday about it not being a very revolutionary formula. You can get similar looks from just standard eyeshadows, but I think the formula is unique and it is, I don't know, it's interesting. It does not feel like any of the other ones that I've used. And I am still really blown away that it lasted like it did yesterday. Yeah, I'm really liking this gray. This is nice. I don't want to take it in too far because for me, that's going to make my eyes look too close together. Okay, I'm trying to put that pink over it. I think I don't like this color pink. It's very, very orangey. It's almost like a coral. Not quite, but it's on me, it's awfully orangey. And that's not usually the way I'm going to go, personally. Like that looks good. But for me, that's always going to read almost like I'm a little sick. So, that's always the tough sort of thing to try and manage is if you want to wear pinks and oranges and things like that on your eyes, if you get a very particular like tone of it, depending on your skin, you can end up looking like you have pink eye or like you're sick or you didn't get enough sleep. This pink is bordering on that for me. The gray is toning it down, and I'm going to put that watery white shimmer on top of it to see if I can bring it down even more, because I do. It looks like I've been crying and I've been rubbing my eyes, so that's not for me. Oh no, so that's interesting. That like spread, somehow that spread that pink all the way up into here, which I don't like. Ooh, I don't like that. I might have to fix that. Yeah, because look, it's not here. I'm just using this. Let's try it again. See if it happens again over here. I think it just ends up spreading it. That other one. It almost looks like a stain. Ooh, I don't like that. Gosh, that is so orangey pink. Oh, I am regretting using that. I don't like it. Okay, let's try the white again. See if I can fix that a little bit. I mean, it's better. Oh, I don't like that. Okay. Oof. I don't know, I'm not feeling this. Let's put a little more gray in the corner. And then I feel the need for a line. So I'm probably going to go into that darker color again and see if I can get some sort of maybe smoky natural line. Maybe I won't try to do a full wing today with it, because I wouldn't say you can't get like a really good defined wing with it. It just won't do it. I'm gonna try something just sort of smudgy around here. I'm trying to make a wing again. Stop it. We'll do like a little corner triangle here so that I still get a little bit of lift this way, but I'm not doing like a full wing. It makes my eyes, instead of looking lifted, it makes them look like little marbles or something. They're more rounded. And that's a look, I guess, but you find what's ideal for your eye shape, and then you tend to like do that because it actually looks good. Okay, I put the lashes on, and you know that thing that I said I don't like where your eyes look too close together and like they're little dark marbles like receding into, I'm gonna put a little bit of eyeliner on. For me, we saw yesterday this, I try to build up that dark brown. It just doesn't do it. I give in. I don't want to look like this all day, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of liner on just to bring this out. I was hoping I could go for that more natural look, and I don't like it. So there. Okay, you know what it is? It's that I have this like pink all the way to the inner, and I tried putting the watery white over it, and it's not opaque enough to give me that lighter center. So I'm going to use concealer to get rid of some of that. So see how immediately that changes the shape, and it looks like, okay, that looks nice. And this looks like very rounded and centered, and all of a sudden that pulls out. I mean, my eye looks bigger here, but they look too close together. So it's a little more of a dull look, which, that's a look. It's just not, I don't know, I don't prefer it. I'm trying not to disrupt the rest of my makeup. This is a trick that you can use with any eyeshadow, is you can either try putting a white eyeshadow in here to try and kind of make it a little lighter, or just very carefully hit it with a little bit of concealer. I find that the concealer does a better job of actually getting it so that everything is kind of moved back out. Okay, so I'm kind of letting that dry down. I'm gonna give that a second, and then we're gonna go over it with the white again and see if we can kind of integrate it back in without getting that pink involved. That pink is gonna get yeeted so fast. I am going to pull that one out of this palette and pick something nice and neutral and pretty to put in there instead, so that this actually will be a travel palette. The other one that's going to get yeeted, I think, is that dark brown that is not serving its liner dark brown purpose, which is what I really, really wanted it to do. Okay, so for me, this is a much more wearable look. This feels more natural. It is supposed to be a really hyper natural palette, and I think this is more flattering for my eye shape. Let's see how this one wears today. I feel more normal, natural, and comfortable with this look, and I managed to tone down that pink so that I don't look like I've been up crying all night, because that's not cute. Okay, I'll check back in later. All right, so here it is right after I applied it in natural light. As you can see, it's a lot more light, but very pretty. That creasy kind of thing is still there, but I think it's really just a reflection. Definitely a hyper natural sort of look. Okay, so I have worn this all day today, and it looks about the same as when I put it on. It is super pretty. It has not creased anymore, even though I just did foundation, concealer, and then powder as the base for it, and then I just used the cream shadows today. I had no more creasing. It hasn't moved. It looks really good. What I will say about it, however, is that it naturally looks like it's creasing if you don't have completely smooth eyelids, which, most of us don't, but some of us have like really crepey eyelids like me. And so it's so shiny, and it has such a pretty sort of it's not really metallic, it's more of like a water effect. That kind of shine picks up that crepey skin, and it shows your natural creases that are in there. So it looks like it's creasing, but it's really not. I don't think so, because when I spread it out, there isn't like open patches anywhere. I don't know, do you see it? I really don't. It just looks like one of the hazards of wearing very, very sparkly eyeshadow on very, very crepey lids. So I actually would have to say I was expecting this to be a horrible crease fest, especially watching other people who have very, very oily eyelids talk about it and really try to wear it and make it work and not having luck with it. Um, I don't think that for me, the way I said it, that was not a problem. But if you have very crepey eyelids, it's going to accentuate the crepiness of your eyelids. And so it kind of looks like it's creasing. I mean, I've had this on all day. I touched up the rest of my makeup so that I didn't look terrible. And it really has not changed at all. It sets really, really well. I'm still a little bit blown away and surprised that that is the case. That's not what I would have expected. So I can definitely say that if you are worried about longevity and you are similar to me, where you're oily, you're older, but you are willing to set underneath, it worked really well for me, much better than expected. The feel of putting it on is so light and nice that it's almost like I mean, you just don't even feel it going on. It is very revolutionary in that way. That is unusual. Usually you can kind of feel it. Something's either a little powdery or it's got a little texture or it's cooling and smoothing. A lot of these sort of like cream to powder ones, they go on with this cooling effect, and then the cooling effect doesn't go away. I actually hate that feeling. This doesn't have any of that. This feels like you're putting nothing on your eyes at all. It's very, very comfortable. So that is one of the really, really kind of nasty things a lot of times when you are wearing cream shadows, is that you're very aware that they're on your eyes. If they don't go to powder and in like a real functional way, they are crusty, they pull, they feel tight, they have that weird cooling feeling, or you can like they feel extra oily and greasy, and you can actually feel it like piled up in your oily like creases. This has none of that. This is super comfortable. Like, this is definitely one and done. If you were to take this on vacation with you and you wanted to do your makeup in the morning and not worry about it for the rest of the day, it would totally work for that. And that is pretty revolutionary. I don't know of any other ones. Not that I've tried a ton of cream shadows because they're not my favorite because of all these problems. But I've never tried one that feels like this. Here's what we all really want to know. Who is this for? Should I go get this? Is this worth $62? Okay, so that's a lot of money. I got mine for $37, so I feel like I didn't get ripped off for that. I don't think that if I weren't regularly reviewing makeup and like just ultra wanting to try everything and like tell you guys what I think, I would literally do this even if I didn't have a YouTube channel. I have to try everything. So if you're not me, then I think this one's probably a pass. It's just too expensive for how little use most people, I think, are going to get out of this. And I love everything Natasha Denona. But this is a really, really specific palette, and I think it is for a very specific kind of customer. So I think who it is for, if I had to guess, because this is so not me, I think this is for maybe you're older. I'm not real comfortable with makeup, but I like to put a little something on and I just want to have something with me kind of person. And I also think that it is for your clean girl types. I am so not a clean girl type. I don't want to look overdone all the time, but I have to put so much stuff on just to look like acceptable for me. I think that if you really like putting on makeup with your fingers and you want like one swipe looks, especially if you just want to use one color, two colors max, and you want them very, very neutral, and you just want that little bit of like sparkle and shine, and you want to look really fresh or really sophisticated, I think, you have your people who look great, and I'm so jealous of these people. They look so great with just one or two swipes of like some sort of sparkly taupe or pearlescent color or a little bit of a smoky color, and then they're just able to put some mascara on. This is totally the palette for those kind of people. It's also the palette for somebody who is wanting to take all of that simplified makeup and take it on vacation with them, or if they just want to have that in their purse, that it's always on the go. The other thing I would say is this is a weird palette to me because so many of the shades in it for the eyes are like definitely neutral to cool, and I love that. But the face shades, you know, the blush, the contour, it does have one cool contour, but most of it is pretty darn warm on somebody who's very, very cool toned. And so the two I feel almost don't go together. I mean, you can make it go, but it's not kind of the ideal. I would love to see this in about 3 different skin tone sort of palettes. A full, like, fair, cool, neutral palette I think would be absolutely gorgeous. I would rebuy it, I think, if she did that. I would love to see a medium neutral to warm, and then a dark neutral to warm. I think you could definitely do that, but I'm guessing she just kind of tried to split it down the middle and tried to make something that might work for a little bit for everyone, which I understand because this is trying a new sort of formula. So I get it. Overall, what I would say is you need to ask yourself if this is the way that you like to wear makeup for this kind of money. It is a beautiful formula. I do like the new formula she tried. It does not encompass everything that you're probably going to want. It does not have a very dark liner shadow, which it looks like it does, but it just doesn't perform that way. I think she should have gone with more of like a cream shadow on that was opaque so that you could actually use it that way. And it doesn't have a highlighter. I would have liked to have seen what she sometimes does is put a little strip of highlighter in here that I think would have made it more of a full face palette for a lot of people. All of that said, this is really highly specific on who's going to really like this. I think some people are going to really, really love this, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, that's a lot of money for something I'm probably not going to use a whole lot. So that's what I think about that. Now I'm curious what you guys think. Have any of you tried it? And if you have, what do you think? Are any of you guys going to try it? Do you think that this is something that is going to actually appeal to you and it would be something that you would use? Go ahead and leave any comments or questions down in the comments section and I will get back to you. I get back to everybody. And I think that's about it. That was kind of a long review just because it is so expensive and it is such an interesting new sort of face palette and eyeshadow formula. It really deserved a little more testing to see who it was actually going to work for. So yeah, if you were on the fence, I hope that this helped you in making your decision. Okay, if you have not subscribed, I would sure appreciate it as it really helps my channel to grow. Thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video.